Welcome to the channel. Here we tackle complex questions and break them down into simple step-by-step solution. Let's solve today's problems together.
In this problem, a ball is suspended from a wire, first horizontally, and then it's allowed to release, and it falls down a semicircular path and hits a block. So the two parts of the question are to find the velocity of the ball just before it hits the block, and then to find the velocity after it hits the block, and they specify that the collision between the ball and the block is elastic. So we need to know the length of the wire, which is 1.2 meters. That's the same, whether it's vertical or horizontal, it's the same wire. So that's ultimately the height from which it falls. And even before we analyze any collision, we can say that the potential energy before the ball is released is going to equal the kinetic energy when the ball is just about to hit the block. So I can do mg times the height is 1/2 mv squared. The mass is just the mass of the sphere, so that cancels. It's the same on both sides. And I can find the velocity by multiplying both sides by 2, and then taking the square root. I can find the velocity of the ball just before it hits the block. So we can do that to get an answer for part A. So 2 times 9.8 meters per second squared times the height, which is 1.2 meters. Take the square root of that. You will get 4.85 meters per second. So that's a basic conservation of energy problem. The second part's a little trickier because they want to know the velocity of the ball after it hits the block. So we're sort of analyzing this system here, and it's an elastic collision. So we'll say that the mass 1 is given, that's the mass of the sphere, and that is 1.6 kilograms. The velocity of the ball just before it hits the block, is 4.85 meters per second. We just found that out using energy. The second mass is the block, and that has a heavier mass of 2.4 kilograms, but its initial velocity is 0. Okay, so we do know that energy is conserved. P before is equal to P after of the whole system. So we can write out what we know in symbols first. M1 V1, V0 1, plus M2 V0 2. So these are the initial masses and velocities, are equal to the masses, which haven't changed, but the velocities have. Okay, but now we can plug numbers in because we can get to a point where you'll see we have two unknowns. So the first mass is 1.6. The first velocity was 4.85. This whole term is 0 because the initial velocity of block 2 is 0. Then on the right-hand side, we have 1.6 times the final velocity of block 1, which I don't know what it is, or ball 1, I don't know what that is, and the second mass times the final 2. So we have two unknowns, and without another relationship, we can't solve this problem. The book does it one way. It's on page 199 and 200 of your textbook. You can certainly do it that way. If you look at problem 33 of this solution guide, problem 33 in chapter 7, I derive a relationship which I find more helpful than the one that the book uses, which is only true for elastic collisions. And that relationship, feel free to go back and see that if you haven't already, but the elastic collision relationship is that the velocity of block 1, the sum of its initial and final velocities of object 1, whether it's a block or a ball, doesn't matter, is equal to the initial and final velocities of block 2, remembering that these are vectors. So if anything is moving in an opposite direction, then you have to assign a negative sign to it. So In this case, again, I have v final 1 and v final 2, both as my unknowns. But if I plug in my numbers here, I have another relationship that we can use to solve the problem. So v naught 1 is 4.85 meters per second. V final 1, I don't know. V naught 2 is 0. And v final 2, I don't know. But because this 0 is here and it doesn't do anything, I have an expression for v final 2. V final 2 is 4.85 meters per second plus v final 1. This whole thing can go into this equation where v final 2 is, and then we're left with only one unknown. So I'll move a little bit more to the left so I can have more space. So 1.6 times 4.85, and I suppose I could have multiplied that out. I'll do it in the next line. So the left-hand side hasn't changed. The right-hand side, I'm going to keep the first term as is, v final 1, and then I'm going to plug in, instead of v final 2, I'm going to plug in 4.85 meters per second plus v final 1. So now I can simplify. 1.6 times 4.85 is 7.76. So that side is done for now. And then I'm going to be able to combine this, but I can't yet. So 1.6 times v final 1 plus 2.4 times 4.85 is 11.64 kilogram meters per second, plus 2.4 kilograms v final 1. So now I have two terms with v final 1, so I can combine those. That would be exactly 4 v final 1. And then if I subtract this from both sides, or move it to the left-hand side and change the sign, I have 7.76 minus 11.64, which gives me negative 3.88 kilogram meters per second. And that's equal to 4 times v final 1. So just dividing both sides by 4, v final 1, which is the final velocity of the ball after it strikes the block, is negative 0.97 meters per second. And that's all they ask for. They don't ask for what the velocity of the block is. If they did, we'd be finding v final 2. The easiest way to do that would be to come back to this equation and plug everything back in. But we don't need it in this case, so our final answer is that the sphere bounces back with a velocity of 0.97 meters per second.